Today, I'm starting back my podcast. And to get it started back up, I had to go find the best person out there to relay information that I'm trying to get out. We deal with a lot of brothers getting out of prison and not knowing what to do, think they don't have anything to do, think they don't have any options other than to do what to put them in prison in the first place. Recidivism is a real thing. So with that being said, I want to introduce everybody to the infamous Minister Dabney. Mr. Dabney, lovingly known as The Rock. Rock Dabney, Roscoe Dabney. Where did Rock come from?
Rock is my nickname that my father gave me when my mother told him that she wasn't going to name me after him as Roscoe. And so she said, unless he has a nickname. And so the nickname was Rocky, but my father said, no, I'm going to call him Rock. So everybody else called me Rocky, but he called me Rock. And then, of course, as I started getting older, and I was about 8 years old when I started leaving the house, and I started to exemplify who Rock was and start, carving and creating who that person was as me.
Who is The Rock?
No nonsense.
No nonsense.
Yeah, nobody I ain't to be played with. I've never been one to treat somebody no different than how I wanted to be treated, And if somebody decided that they was gonna treat me some type of way unfairly, then they was gonna meet The Rock, period. They're gonna meet Rock.
I met you, we've been knowing each other since, the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I met you at the Bulldogs. But our life has transpired from then to now. Mm-hmm. So I've known you through every journey that each of us been on.
Right.
We kind of been on them together.
Right.
We've been on a few of them together. Tell me about your journey, man. You've been to prison. Mm-hmm. You're a minister now. Mm-hmm. You just got out of prison. 10 years. How long ago was that?
11 years.
11. Me too.
Be 12 years next month.
Just got out of prison. What got you to prison?
Early on, I went through juvenile system, and I was very, just honestly, when Roots came out, that was like a culture shock for me. I was colorblind up to that point, and I didn't see white people or anybody else as a different type of people. They was just as human as I was. But then when I saw Roots, of course, it enraged me. It ticked me off. It set me off, actually. And from there, I just became more rebellious, more ignorant, and confused because we didn't have Black history in school to teach us nothing about all of it, and so I was just trying to feel my way through life and figure it out. And of course, as a young teenage boy, you can't, back then in Tulsa, you can't figure all that out. I seen the police shoot Black men and throw a knife or something down and say they was armed, and they weren't, At 11, 12 years old, I witnessed that. So, it just, everything started compounding to the point to where it became profound to me that as Black people, Black men, young Black boys, we didn't stand a chance unless we just fought right there on the spot. Police, whoever, right there on the spot, regardless of the consequences or repercussions, because I felt like when I saw what they did to Kunta Kinte on the screen, I was like, I wish he would. I wish somebody would think that I'm gonna take that. Now you got to kill me.
So how did that lead you to prison?
So as I started to, first of all, one of my times in juvenile, I did 11 months for beating up a white teacher and a white security guard out at JCPenney's back when the Promenade was thriving. And it was starting to be a pattern that I didn't like white people. So it took me down to the city council and said I was a menace to society and I didn't deserve to be on the streets. But the truth was, both of them white men put their hands on me first. And so me defending myself as a minor, I still got the handcuffs, the 11 months I had to do in juvenile. So I was full of rage. So when I got out of that, my mindset was, I'm about to teach my little brothers and everybody, I'm about to teach them how to hustle, how to beat the white man, how to have no regard for them at all, especially the police. And there was a little brother. I had moved into deeper North Tulsa, and I took him up to the Safeway, and I snatched the white woman's purse. And when I snatched the purse, I got away, but his little brothers and sisters was up there, and they caught one of them. They told him, that's Roscoe who grabbed the purse, you know. Yeah. I was already on probation because I was certified at 17 as an adult because I broke out of the same maximum security juvenile. So when they caught up with me, they certified me. So I was already at 17 experiencing adult jail and all of that. But so when they put a warrant out for me and caught up with me on the robbery by force, snatching the white woman's purse, I got 6 years in prison for it. Went to prison, was there less than 30 days, and I escaped from prison. And made it back to Tulsa and was out for 5-6 months, whatever, with all my homies. I was a original Rip boy, so when I got back to the streets, that just amplified who we was as a gang. You know, look at them, they break out of prison, they do, you know. Yeah. And so that was how I went the first time.
How did that gang life go?
Gang life was serious, yeah. You know, especially in prison. Back then, it wasn't even heard of. They didn't even believe. It was an incident took place in 1989 where, you know, it was 4 of us. There was Bloods, the Rip Boys, and about 30 Crips. And we stabbed a lot of them. And so it wound up being that the news didn't want to, the prison didn't want to admit to the news that it was a gang banging situation that had took place at Dick Connors Correctional Center. It's still in the paper archives today, denying that gangs was in the prison system. But that had nothing to do with Ground Zero, on the level we was on. In other words, our reality, everybody knew then that we had arrived and we wasn't to be messed with or played with. But it just, you know, the more that incidents take place and you get into it with people, if you win, if you come out on the W side, it empowers you more in the eyes of people, and people look at you and say, man, that dude, that's who I want to be like. You know, I want to run with him. I don't want to be on the other side of him. I want to be on this side. And it starts giving you this false idea of yourself that you're basically invincible, you know, that you have almost like a God-like mentality in your own mind that whatever you say, that's what go. And if don't nobody want to comply or conform to what you say, then you need to execute right then and there some sort of demonstration to them that what I say go. Like the old saying, when E.F. Hutton speak, everybody listen. So I was like, when Rock Dog speak, everybody listen. You know, it was my gang name. So it was, from there, it just elevated more and more, and everybody said, you know, you do what a lot of us wish we could do. You done it, or you do it. And I realized some people don't have the heart that I have, though. So early on, I was already contemplating, I think I'm on the wrong path. You know, I'm not supposed to throw my life away for people who won't do the same for me. You know,
how many times were you incarcerated? Different times, or was just one time?
Three times.
Separate times. Yeah. So the last time you went is the time that you got out, because you haven't been back since the last time.
Right.
Where did you go to prison for the last time, if you don't mind me asking?
Last time I went to prison was they charged me with murder.
Okay.
1st-degree murder, and in that charge, they were so bent on The second time is really what caused the last time, to be honest with you. 1991, gang banging. I shot a lot of people at Quick Trip in South Tulsa, and one of those innocent bystanders was the deputy sheriff's daughter. And so they had it out for me. But when I went to prison, I changed. And so when I got out, just because I changed, that didn't matter to them. You know, understandably, because if that was my child, I'd feel the same way, you know. But I still was in that mindset that, you know, I'm going to go hard on you regardless. I'm never going to bow down. You're never going to come for me or come at me and get away with it. I'm going to still go hard on you, you know. That's just who I was. We all have what we say, that other side of us. Don't make that other side come out, you know. And so, but I began to develop into a better person and see things in a different light in life, period. And then I started to exercise those newfound ideas about how life should be and how we should live it. So when the third time came about, when they came across my name at my house, in my yard, that's all they cared about. You know, so they told a lie and said that I matched the description of the shooter and that I was dressed in all black, matching that description. And everybody could look and see I had on light blue jeans, a white Jordan shoes, shirt to match it, and an Echo hoodie that said Echo in big white across the front. And so from that point on, even though I faced the death penalty, I was in jail 18 months, year and a half, I knew they was lying. So I wasn't worried. I was laughing at them. You know, I wrote 33 books while I was in there. So, and ultimately, they said, well, they're not going to take you to trial for murder. I'm suited and ready to go to trial. They say, but since the gun was in the evidence that you picked up in your front yard, it's possession of a firearm after form of conviction, they want to give you a deal for accessory after the fact. And the public defender that I had, I tried to get a street attorney, and the public defender took the street attorney, John Bird, and threw him under the bus and said he was tampering with my case to come talk to me, you know. And somehow she was able to get him in a little trouble where he couldn't represent me. And so when I told her, I said, listen, you can handle this. You know I'm innocent, this and that and other. She said, yeah, but you're Roscoe Dabney. I don't want to see you go in there. And, you know, they're mad because they can't try you for murder and give you a life sentence because the gun carried 10 to life. And because you're Roscoe Dabney, they're going to give you 10 to life. I said, you know what? I don't want nobody like you represent me. Go get the deal for 10 years. And so that's how I wound up going, even though I knew I was innocent. So when I got in prison, I went to the law library, filled out all I needed to fill out, and got it overturned because I knew I was innocent. The judge could see it, everybody could see it, plain as day. So that was what took place in my last.
So you said when you went to prison the second time, you changed. What happened that made you change in prison, or you just, I'm an adult now?
No, it's like I said, you know, when I realized that there was one incident where somebody, we was out on the yard, was in maximum security at McAllister, me and one of my partners, and we was handcuffed behind our back. When you come off the rec yard, you know, this is how they secure their own protection, handcuff you behind your back, bring you off the yard. So we was handcuffed, and while we was handcuffed, some Crips was out in the yard with us, and they had knives. And so when they opened the gate to take us in, the Crips attacked, and we defended ourselves to the point to where one of them was unconscious, and the other one, you know, ultimately we both handcuffed, attacked him, and when they got us to our cells, you know, it was really more like, wow, like I could have died today, you know. And I'd already spoke about the measures we needed to take the night before to deal with them, and my partner didn't listen to me. He He didn't understand, I just came from gang banging hard in the streets. I know the level of this. I know how deep he had been locked up too long and forgot how serious this can get. So right then, that was my father and my oldest daughter's birthday on that same day. And I was like, dang, I could have died on their birthday.
Yeah.
I said, I got to do something different. I gotta change. This ain't it.
So that changed you, right? So you got any stories that if anybody listening, any young guys listening, they want to glorify. This is the thing about in the black community. They glorify prison guys. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of times people come out. When I went to prison, what put me in prison was I was a dope dealer, So a lot of dope. Went to prison for it, and served that 10 years. Served my time, but when I went, I didn't associate with. I'm not a gang affiliated, so I didn't. I was with the nerds. The people went to church, and even though I didn't go to church, I was with the people that went to church, and the people that played dominoes and chess, and I was with those guys. But it was things that went along, and I had an incident. And I was in the county still. I had an incident in the county, and this right here made me. This is my epiphany. I said, I got to do better, man. I can't. And I went to prison twice. The first time I went, I don't call it prison, because I went to Jackie Brandon for 4 months, 120-day review or whatever it was, on a 2-year sentence. At a camp, I got to go in the community every day. I just had to come back there and go to sleep. So that didn't do anything. I wasn't like, this prison? Mm-hmm. I can go commit some crimes. That didn't do nothing to me. The second go around, 15 years later, I caught a drug case, and they gave me 10 years. They could have let me go from the county, and I would have never committed another crime, because my experience in the county and what I seen in the county was enough for me. I remember one time, in prison, their mindset is set in the county. They own something that's not theirs. So we had the seat situation, about the chair situation, in front of the TV. And in the county, they put their IDs on them, right? I don't know about prison life. I don't know about county life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I get up every morning because I had a job. So I had a job in the real world. So when I got to the county, I still got up every morning. After they gonna get you up anyway. So after breakfast, everybody get in the bed. I stay up and watch TV, right? Watch the news. I'm still a real person, right? In prison, they don't get up until the stories come on. Well, in the county anyway. So I'm sitting there watching the news, and then I'm watching ESPN. So the story's about to come on. Guy come out, said, man, you sitting in my seat. So I know I've been sitting here since breakfast. You know what I'm saying? I could have easily went to the next seat, but I took his ID out because I didn't want to sit on the man's ID and put it in the next seat. And I'm looking at the other seat, like, why you just can't sit in one of these seats? So we ended up getting into a fight, and 2 fights actually, because the first fight, it was in the pod, it was out in the open. And in the second fight, they put us we went in the cell and fought again. Now, while I'm in this cell fighting for my life, I after the fight I'm sitting there saying, I could hit my head on that. He could have hit his head on that. Anything could have happened, right? Mm-hmm. Anything could have happened, but the other inmates, they were cheering it on. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, I'm not like y'all. You know what I'm saying? In the situation, I seen my death and in his death. Either way, I'm in trouble because I'm dead or paralyzed, or I got another charge because I killed this man, right? Or he killed, whatever the case may be. So that was I said that day right here, man, no matter how hard life gets, when I get out of here, when I serve this time, I'm hitting the ground running, and I'm not coming, because recidivism, they look forward to that. Mm-hmm. That's how all the wardens and the COs, that's how they feed their children. That's how they buy their cars and houses. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't gonna get it. You gotta keep coming back. They look at you. They looked at me and said, I'm gonna give me a new car for him because he gonna come back again. You know what I'm saying? Because they set it up so where you have to come back. But anyway, that was my epiphany that made me say, you know, when I get home, now I got to get home. So everything I did from that day in the county to the day I came home, I was trying to make sure I got home.
Right.
So that's why I didn't do certain things. And, you know, they try to get you to hang out with. I remember I went to Beaumont. I went to the feds. I get to Beaumont. I walk in. The dude said, "Where you from?" Because you got your number on your shirt. 062 means you from Tulsa or whatever. You know, they know you from automatically. He said, where you from? I said, I'm from Tulsa. He said, no, but where you from? I said, I'm from North Tulsa. Yeah. He said, man, what set you claim? I said, man, I don't get down like that. That brother said, man, everybody in Tulsa is a gangbanger. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah. You know, he's from California, but that's how they think about us Tulsa people. Everybody in Tulsa, little B.O. Tulsa, this guy's from South Central L.A. And said, man, everybody from Tulsa is a gangbanger. And I'm saying, who set that precedent? Who said that? So now I'm on a different mission. I got to show enough proof that I ain't like you.
Right.
I don't even want to be associated with you. You know what I'm saying? To where you think just because I'm from Tulsa, I'm a certain way automatically. But anyway, do you have any stories that you can tell a young man that's listening to deter them from even going to prison? Because it ain't nothing fun about prison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can lose your life every day. You, me, and anybody else in prison, their life is in danger every day.
Right.
Now, I told a guy, I said good morning to a guy. He flipped out. What's good about this morning? Oh, you know, doing all that. I'm like, okay, what bad morning? I don't know. What you want me to say? Yeah. But do you got anything or nothing?
Yeah, well.
But we ain't glorifying it. No. We trying to, man, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like you said, dude jumped you and, you know, you got handcuffs on. And the guards be setting a lot of that stuff up. The COs be setting that stuff up. So I'm going to let you take over.
Yeah, you know, I can relate to the idea that these youngsters have in their mind, because when I was young, my idea when I first went to the penitentiary, this was my trophy.
Yeah.
And when homies would come in there and be, man, I want to go home, and I'm like, man, what you talking about? This our trophy, you know. We going back to the streets, but look at what type of street cred. Look at who you are. You know, you shouldn't be shying away from this. You shouldn't be complaining about this, man. I do this 6 years on my head, you know. And when I would see different people that out in the streets, they was about their life, but in there, you know, I'm seeing some softer sides of people. You know, I'm like, man. In some cases, I'm like, you know, he lucky the homie, because I beat him, punched on him. You know, he going to court. And that it's that lifestyle. First of all, once you get caught up in that lifestyle and you develop in that way, your mind becomes an environmental cesspool. All your thoughts are negative. They're pessimistic. You know, the only thing you glorify is how much more trouble you can get in. And then when it spiral out of control, now you like, wait a minute, man. I'm steady saying I'm this sharp, smart dude. I'm about this lifeness. If I'm so smart, why I keep getting me in here? How am I who I say I'm this and that, but I keep having to look in this mirror in prison at myself and saying, I said I wasn't coming back, but here I am, back again. So, dang, I'm lying to myself. I'm faking myself out. It's a character build. You know, at the end of the day, we get to telling ourselves something for so long, we start to build that as a character, and then others start to feed that, you know, and fuel that fire that's in us, that we are this person that we say we are, when the truth is, when we was born, we was none of that. We didn't come out gang banging. We didn't come out with no prison number on our shirt or none of that. We came out as human beings, you know. Yes, we already had at least one strike against us for the color of our skin in America, but other than that, we wasn't that person who we was trying to become or ultimately became. We put in the work to character build somebody that when we looked in the mirror, ultimately, we knew the truth was it didn't went too far. We done got out of control. Now I'm talking about my generation. The generations now after the crack epidemic and the kids having kids epidemic, they are a whole different ball game. Because we didn't function off, man, I'm finna go smoke 3 or 4 blunts, drink me some alcohol, and then I'm finna go hard on the yard. No, we consciously knew what we was doing. We was literally character building. It's default now. Everything they do is, I'm finna get high, I'm smoke me a blunt, I'm gonna be cool, I'm gonna sag my pants, I'm gonna claim this, I'm gonna speak this lingo, I'm gonna try my best to come off like I'm gangster, you know, because this is the environment now that I'm subjected to, that if I don't do it this way, they're gonna run me over. Because I don't have a number on my shirt from prison. I don't have no street cred or nothing. I'm gonna get ran over. But the truth is, you ain't got no business out in the streets anyway.
Yeah.
Stop trying to be something that you ain't gonna never be anyway. Because all you are, at the end of the day, is the white man's pick. He gonna pick your number next, even in a dope game. You know, we used to say it's 99 snitches to 1 real one. So every time you go stand on that corner in broad daylight to sell crack, you basically saying, here I am. And they gonna send a confidential informant or a reliable confidential informant your way. And the next thing you know, you like, they came up with me today. Man, they've been having tabs on you the whole time. You know, so you not playing your game, you playing that game. But when you get to real life, you realize one thing. It's chess, not checkers. You know, if you want to gang bang and do all that stuff, character build and all that, you playing checkers. The chess players are saying, I'm going to use your social security number to determine the type of life quality that you have. And since I see that your social security number suggests you black, when you fill out this application for a job, I'm going to already tell you no. I know what that's going to do. It's going to set you off. You're going to go back to the streets. Why? Because you put yourself in a situation working so hard to character build, when everybody that come before you in my generation is telling you, hey, pump your brakes, man. That ain't what you think it is. It ain't like it used to be, man. This ain't gonna get you nothing. If you try to glorify something that we as OGs is telling you it ain't even what you think it is no more, you're a fool. You're a bigger fool than we was.
And they think you are a fool. They think you the fool. So when I came home, right, you know, I jumped on it. You know, I went to work. I did everything. I worked at a hotel in the laundry room. You know, that's minimum wage. Then I had a job. They building Macy's over here. I worked $10 an hour, rebar time. I'm tying rebar all day. And I got my third job. Maintenance man at Arbor's apartment. I remember I called you, and you said you need anything. You brought me some boots and some and your great grandfather's tools, and a tool bag. You know, and I appreciated that, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I appreciated it because I didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And but just that, you know, that's the friend you were to me. But I came home with the mentality, I'm not going back to prison. You know, I came home with some help. You know, like I said, you were one of the people, my parents were one of the people. I came home with people helping me not go back to prison. A lot of these brothers don't come home with the help that I came home. And I don't know what help you had or didn't have, but we made it work. You know what I'm saying? I made it work. And you know, I started my company. I went from there to starting my company and started, you know, my real estate and my construction thing. And now I'm doing, you know, I'm cool. You know, I'm gonna say this: from prison to pastoring, how do you get to where you are today from where you came from?
Well, to go back, we're gonna correct something. You called me the infamous minister. No, the infamous was my past. You know, the minister is who I am present.
Right.
And so, and I don't have to be a famous minister or infamous, but the thing that was important for me was, and I said this in an interview a long time ago with Lori Fulbright, if I could be that good at being bad, I could be that good at being good, you know? And so like I said, I started redirecting my energy towards something that I really wasn't afraid of. It was just unfamiliar to me. It was unfamiliar for me to go fill out a job application and ask for a job. It was unfamiliar for me to have life and social skills and apply them in life because I was locked up. But I started taking classes to educate myself about the necessary steps that I needed to take. You know, I'll never forget my instructor in Votech there in prison. When we became friends, when I got out, he told me when I was getting ready to look for my first job, he said, "This is what you want to tell them." He said, "Put on your application that you plan to become an asset to that company." And that's what I did. The first job I applied for, I got, and I never needed another job. I actually started my business after that as a roofing technician. But that was gold to me. That was a great gem that he gave me, that anybody, if they're serious about changing their life, when it come time for a job, just let them know you want to be an asset. If you don't mean it, it's gonna show up, but more than likely it's gonna get you hired. You know, so at the end of the day, for me, when you are involved like I was gangbanging, you are promoted to OG, triple OG. Think about redirecting your energy. I was over them type of people. I inputted and poured into their life. But when I gave my life to the Lord, now the Lord chose me to input and pour into people's lives who's looking for the Lord, who's looking for that spirituality, that way to walk upright and perfect before the Lord and in his sight. And with that, you see the similarities that at the end of the day, if you're over something, you're over something. If you're a leader of something, you're a leader of something. If you have a responsibility and accountability for something, that's what it is. So when it redirects and shifts to this, you're still functioning and operating with that same mindset that I have an accountability to people. But what I'm giving them is not a negative. It's a positive. You know, it's not a go destruct, a self-destruct. It's a go thrive, go live, enjoy and experience a quality of life. And after this life, your spirituality will take you into eternal life with God, you know. So that's just the bottom line, cut and dry. That's what it is.
So this went from an interview to a sermon.
Hope not. You ain't heard me preach. Oh, you have, but
I have. So when you came home from prison, you found the Lord, and you found this. Okay.
Yeah. Before that.
But that
I grew up in church.
right, as we all did.
No, I literally was active in church. Like everything that you could imagine that we do, traveling, conventions, Bible. I did all of that, and I was serious about it. But you know, like I said, my childhood dictated to me getting on a different path. That's the importance. That's the difference. You know, once your mind goes in survival mode or protection mode, you're no longer thinking clearly, even though you think you are. You know, whenever you in the ring and you fighting and you in defense instead of offense, you're not thinking about offense, you're thinking about what? Defense. Right. And if your opponent is better than you, and we're going to say this about life, because as black men, life can be kicking your butt. And if you're not experienced and you don't have a book or any type of guidance or any type of advice, the next thing you know, you in defense mode. I done seen people in the ring in defense mode turn their head, and that's because they don't know what to do. You know, that's life too. People are they check out, you know, and when they check out from life, they by the time it's all over with, it's ugly. So no, I knew the Lord. I was seeking the Lord before it all, but life put me in survival and defense mode. So that wasn't my focus no more. But it was in me. You know what I'm saying? It was in me from a child. It was in me. That's why I was able to go back and grab it. You know, after I peeled back them layers, the Lord delivered me from all those mindsets and everything that I believed that would keep me alive or keep me, rock.
Right.
Once I peeled that all back, the Lord helped me peel that all back. I got to the point to where, this is the same application, just a different path.
So you mentioned you started a business
Yes.
when you came home, or
Before.
okay,
Yeah. When they lied on me, I already had my business.
okay. So, but you started a business after you came home the second time.
Yes. And then when I came home the third time, I got right back to it.
Got you. How did you start that business?
I filed necessary paperwork with the Secretary of State's office. I was a sole proprietor. I wasn't an LLC. Business structure, of course, is everything, but as a sole proprietor, and people might laugh about this, but it's serious. As a black man, when you have children and you got child support, you might be shooting yourself in the foot as a LLC. As a sole proprietor, you have more financial freedom to handle your money and dictate to how it hits your hand and not have it go into a bank account and get up the next morning, they done froze your account, took your $15,000, $20,000 and said, this is what you owe in child support. So my business structure was for a sole proprietor for that reason. I would have loved to be a LLC, but because most of us black men that have children and we've been in prison and they still with these arrears and all this child support stuff, even though we're disabled and it's not even supposed to be applied to us, they continue to let it toll up to next thing you know, you get out, you owe $80,000, $90,000 all while you was in prison. And so the better business structure would have been a LLC,
So what are obstacles coming from prison, starting a business? Because when I came home, now I said I was in a mindset, I got a felony now. I'm not gonna ever be able to get a job that's worth it, And I wanted to be a fireman, So I was looking at all that. So that's why I started my own company. 'Cause I couldn't, I couldn't get it. I didn't think I can get a job. I didn't think they were hiring felons. So that was my motivation. I had to take care of my family. I had children. I didn't have child support, but I had children, so I had to take care of my family. So that made me start. And I didn't have obstacles that people think they're out there because to start a business. Like you said, you just went and did what you needed to do. I went and asked the bank. I know what I wanted to do. I said I wanted to flip houses. That was big when I came home. I was a contractor working on houses before I left. So when I came home, I said, you HGTV and all this. Oh, I'm gonna start flipping houses. So what's the first step? You got to get the money, right? So I go to the bank and I asked the bank, what do I need to do to qualify? And they gave me the list, and I got on that list. I got to that list. I started checking it off. It took 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't overnight. The problem we have with people, see, recidivism they want you to be impatient, because impatient is make you coming back. Well, like I said, I had 3 years. I went through minimum wage, $10 an hour to $15 an hour. I did all that in 3 years. I had time because I got 3 years. If I'm 3 years gonna come regardless if I'm waiting on it in prison out, it's gonna come. So I took my 3 years, and then when my 3 years was up, and I was on paper anyway. So for 3 years. So I said after that, when I came off of paper, I started my company. Because you can't have a bank account or anything while you're in BOP custody. People don't realize just because you're on paper, just because you're out here think you're free, you're not.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Right here. When you talking about recidivism and them banking on you not being patient, being impatient. But it's more to it than that, because like when you got out, like when I got out, I didn't need nobody.
Right.
And what I mean by that, I didn't need nobody to gas me up. I didn't need nobody to hype me up. I didn't need to be connected with homies. I didn't need none of that.
Right.
I could stand on my own too. You know, you could stand on your own too. Yeah, you starting from scratch again or from a certain level below what you used to, but I didn't need to go tap in with the homies and all of that. And that's one of the problems when they get out of prison. They make promises to prison. Hey, man, when I get out, I'm going to shoot you some bread. You know, I'm going to look out for you, put some money on your books, man. Call my phone. You know, here's my mama's number. Here's my address. They're obligating themselves to prison. So guess what? They're leaving part of their life connected to prison. So when they get out, there's an expectation from those that's in prison, that's in desperation mode and survival mode, that's trying to stay connected with the outside world, that's saying, hey, man, the homie left the number. I'm about to go. You can't even be on your way on the highway to Tulsa from prison and they already calling you. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? You set yourself up because now you're drawn back into that life that you just discharged or left on paper from. You still interacting with this mindset. And the next thing you know, like, come on, homie, you said you're gonna look out. Oh, I got you, come on, this. Where are your moves? But then you pick up your son, your daughter, your kids from school, you glad to be with your kids, they glad to be with you, but where's your mind preoccupied at? It's preoccupied with an obligation you left in prison. So you left part of you in prison, so you bound to return. That's the recidivism cycle. That's the mindset. If you don't want to be a part of recidivism, your first step is to cut all ties and stand on your own too. And face the world as a man. Well, I don't know how to be a man. I've been in prison all my life. The world gonna teach you about how to be a man, and your first step into being a man was that you cut all ties. That's a man decision right there. You don't need them to gas you. You don't need that type of support or encouragement because they are encouraging you to do one thing. Come on, homie, you left us in here, man. Come back in here with us. Help us do this time. If I interrupt you, I'm sorry, but I wanted to interject that. Go ahead.
This is your interview, brother. We heard to hear you speak, not me.
Yeah. But you was talking about how you.
Right. Yeah. So I was also telling someone that what keeps you out of prison is different from everybody else, right? I had children. Everybody. If anybody know me, they know I love my kids, right? So when I got locked up, I had a son, Junior. He turned 10, but he was 9 years old. Another son was 14 years old. And me being a man, we big on our sons because we don't want them.
Right.
We got to make sure they all right because the world to a man is way harder. I know I'm gonna get some flack for this, but this world is hard on men than it is on women. Black men, right? Than it is on women. I know people gonna say black women got it hard. I read that somewhere.
They do.
And I'm just like, I don't see where they got it harder.
Yeah.
They have it hard.
Yeah.
But they don't have it harder. You know what I'm saying? And this is a different topic, but I'm gonna just touch on it and jump right off of it. They have it hard because they choose the wrong man. And that's all I'm gonna say. Because it's easy.
Let me interject that too. They have it hard because they carry every burden that we leave them with when we go to prison, jail, or the graveyard.
They chose the wrong man. Right. And I'm going to jump off of that. And so, yeah. And so our young black men think it's hard out here because they don't have anybody to tell them, man, you can do it. You don't have to go back. Cut them ties. It'll take a Roscoe, Rock, Dabney to tell them, Triple OG to tell them, man, but then they don't want to listen to you.
No, they're going to listen.
Because the reason they don't want to listen to it, but what else do you have for us?
Yeah.
What else can I do? All I know is selling dope.
Yeah. See,
all I know is gangbanging. Yeah. So you got to show them something else, right? Yeah. And I know you've been involved with organizations for that, the ministry, there's a lot of things I know personally about you that you reaching out and trying to pull them in. I had a construction company and you wanted me to hire, you had somebody from some programs working on some of my properties. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you've always been a person. This has been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've always had people. You've always been a person in the community trying to help the community, right? And so how's that working for you?
Man, it's, that's the give back. When you realize that this ain't bragging or boasting or nothing, but when you realize that the streets operate and function the way they do because of something you did all those many years ago, the old me, Rock, gang banging and all that, and you see the mindsets of these kids, and you know I'm part responsible for that. So how can I change it? How can I make an impact so that they don't go through what I went through? I got to give back. It can't be about me. I got to sacrifice me one more time. But this time it's for the best cause. It's a good cause. And it's a give back because I'm going to say I'm going to structure an education platform for them. I made a partnership and teamwork with Career Tech. That's the prison side. Workforce. That's the society side. Those two kind of intertwine. So when they come out, I'm the one that's saying, let's get you some tools, some boots. But they're going to foot the bill. I'm just the Renaissance man. I'm the middleman to it to make sure that you can't have any excuse and say, I never had a chance. They never gave me no reason. No, I'm going to make sure that every resource available out here, you get it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to be as hard on you or harder on you than anybody's ever been on me. I'm not going to make the mistake that people made with me, with you, by saying, oh, I'm going to let them learn the hard way. No, I'm just getting in your face.
So
I'm just going to make you face it.
Excuse me. I say that all the time, man. They just don't know, right? And then they think it's, and what I was saying about being impatient, they want it now. You know, I heard a young man say, I told him get a job, and it don't matter what kind of job you get, but get a job. I'm telling them, I done told several. Some listened, some didn't. But I said, get a job. It don't matter. You can work at McDonald's. Oh, I ain't gonna never work at McDonald's. I was a laundry man in a hotel, and I'm that guy. So I came from that guy. Went to prison, and I was the laundry man. I wasn't proud. I wasn't too proudful to not do that because me being that laundry man, I'm not that laundry man today. I don't work in that laundry room today. That's just a step. That's just a process I got to make. Step to get to where I need to be. And they want to be already right here. Well, how do I get here? Well, I'm telling you, you got to start right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a process to this. And a lot of our young men don't want to go through that process, you know, because they see, oh, I want to drive whatever. I want to do whatever. I want to look like, I want to dress however, like you, but you don't want to do what it took for me to get here.
Yeah.
Right? They just see it and they want it now. I had a guy told me, don't know nothing about construction. I'm saying, man, you got to start at the bottom. Man, why I got to do that? I started at the bottom. I was the guy, my mother had a saying. She said, somebody has to dig the ditches. Anytime you effed up in school, came home with a bad grade, she said, well, somebody got to dig the ditches, meaning you don't have to try your best. They got a job for you, but it's digging ditches. I end up digging ditches.
Yeah.
Because I went to work on a construction company. And instead of having a backhoe, we dug the footing.
Manual.
Yeah. And I was the gopher. They needed shingles on the roof. I had to carry them up there. And so I was that person until I went from that person to owning a construction company because I knew the inner workings of a construction company. Right. From digging a footing to carrying the shingles on the roof. I knew everything in between, right? And so they don't want to take those steps. They want to go straight to the guy that I worked for drove a Corvette. You know, Tom Davis, he drove a Corvette to work. Well, he never worked. He'll give instructions. Right. So I wanted the Corvette. That's the first thing I got was a Corvette. But I went from digging these ditches to driving a Corvette. Mm-hmm. Right? They want to just automatically drive the Corvette.
Yeah.
And it don't work that way. And it's hard to tell these guys. They don't want to go through the process. It's a process. Like I said, my process was 3 years. Now, of course, I had a mother and a father. You know what I'm saying? They let me stay at their house. I had friends, you included, to help me out and to point me in the right directions. You got out, a day before me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Literally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you were helping me. Because all I was doing was, I seen what the bank needed, I'm getting the job, right? And we, like I said, we did some ventures together. We did some work together. And I seen where you came from 11 years ago. You seen where I came from. That's why you my first guest. You know what I'm saying? Because I seen where you came from, and you seen where I came from. I know it ain't no BS in how to get here. I seen the work you put in to get here. You seen the work I put in to get here. Me and you bumped heads a few times on our journey to be where we are today. if anybody know me, I'm a landlord. I build homes. I'm a builder. But I didn't. And people gonna say this. When I came home, I had the business acumen. I just wasn't doing it on the level I'm doing it now.
Right.
Because when I left, all I was a contractor, and was happy being a contractor. Was making a killing being a contractor. I was the contractor to the stars, as I call it. All the investors was around here, I was their contractor. I kept a job, I kept jobs. When I came home, that was my mindset. I'm gonna be a contractor to the stars again. I went and found the investors that was doing the most work, and I became a contractor, right? Even though I knew how to be the investor, it was easy for me to be the contractor.
Right.
Until I decided to be the investor, right? And that's just another step I had to take. That's just a decision I had to make. And a lot of times we're afraid, like you said, we rather do. I say this: people would rather be in prison than be free.
Yeah. Let me say this, man. It's although you're a black man, I'm generalizing.
Right.
I'm just talking about you. You either a black businessman or you're a businessman. And we come from a rich heritage of Black Wall Street before 1921, before the bombings. And we thrived even a year after that. We rebuilt Black Wall Street and thrived. Our money was in Boley, Oklahoma, at the bank, the first black national bank, So we was never no fools. So that spirit still carries on to this day. But here's the thing. Look at what they learned and look at how they developed as black businessmen right down this strip of Greenwood in the Greenwood district. How? Because they had no choice but to sell and deal with black people. When you make your decision that you're going to impact your community and you're going to give back to your community, that is just what it is. You either a black businessman or you a businessman, even though your skin is black. A black businessman will never shoot himself in the foot by turning his back on his people and not developing for his people. He's going to do everything, or she's going to do everything to make sure, or they as a group going to do everything to make sure the economy for black people is straight, that the black dollar generates and circulates in the black community more than once. I tell people to this day, I hear people say the black dollar don't circulate. Yes, it does. Come to church. It's circulating the black church community all day, every day. Come, you'll see it. It's not taxable. It has outreach abilities in the community. It feed people, it clothe people. Black people.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing about it. As a black businessman, the difference. Now, if I wasn't a black businessman and I was just a businessman, I would encourage the youngsters to get in trouble. You know why? Because I would be investing in the private prisons that lock them up, and I make money hand over fist. I'd have me 3 or 4 Jack's Memorial type funeral homes. I'd be having them running each other, killing each other, and just be sitting back getting rich off this. That's a businessman. That's a businessman. If you look at the color of skin, that's a businessman that does that. But a black businessman, he's all about his people. And he's never going to watch his people commit genocide, they self-destruct, or implode from the inside. We're doing all of this to ourselves. But when you get people, we were at a point of Generation X and a lost generation back in the 90s. When you get people in this generation now, they got their mind made up that I'm going to comply and conform to whatever the world and whatever America says, you already lost. If you born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you got some Greenwood District, Black Wall Street blood in you. You had the ability to be an entrepreneur. That's why I became a businessman as a black businessman, because guess what? It runs through our streets. We didn't get abandoned by it. We abandoned it by feeding into the lies that we've been told, even in our education system in school. But once we start opening up books that lined us back up with our history and who we are, then our spirit was revived. And now we could be whatever we want to be. I think our disposable income in America as black people, $2 trillion or plus.
Yeah.
disposable income. You know where we just in Tulsa, you know where we take it to? They trek us right to the south side, make us go out there. We spend it at Woodland Hills Mall, the Promenade, all these new little outlet malls and stuff. But the taxation that go in the pot never gives community development funds back to our community. And what's the first thing we say? Oh, we can't have that type of store over here. We can't have it. Why come we can't? Oh, they're going to tear it up. They won't insure it. Of course they won't, because them is businessmen. But if you get with black businessmen or women who are about the black people, we can have whatever we want, just like we had back in the Greenwood District Day, period, Black Wall Street. We're doing this to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we glorify because our youngsters who end up being adults glorify the monsters. You know what I'm saying? The rock dogs, the dope dealers. They glorify the wrong thing because that's glamorous. You know, it's glamorous to be a dope dealer. It's glamorous to be a thug. It's glamorous to be respected in the streets. The streets that's respecting you. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, I don't care what the streets say about me. I'm more concerned with what this bank got to say about me, because that's how I further myself. You know, the streets not gonna do it. I can't care less about the streets. And when you touched on that, you got to cut that tie. And a lot of people still care. A lot of these black men our age still care about the streets. The streets got a lot to say about you. I got a lot to say about me. And guess what? I don't care what they say about me.
Yeah.
You don't care what they say about you. Yeah. But yet they still saying it. They saying stuff about you. They saying stuff about me in the streets that we don't care about.
Yeah.
Because we cut those ties and to move on. And the people that didn't cut those ties, they still, like you said, it's still holding them back.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't move on. And if they're still holding you back, it's holding you back to take you back.
Yeah.
And they're going to go back and they're going to say the system did it to them or the white man did it to them. What you say? No, we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, we got another monster to deal with now.
What's that?
We survived the crack epidemic, and we survived the kids having kids epidemic. But now we got a technology epidemic. Video games, cell phones, and tablets. There is a true addiction to these devices and the games. And they say kids from 14 and under shouldn't even be playing Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto and Mortal Kombat. It affects their social skills and development in that way. And more than likely, they'll become antisocial. But even worse than that, you got to realize something. It's an addiction. So what does that tell you? They don't care nothing about no gang members. They don't care nothing. All they care about, man, even some of these youngsters that's wearing red and blue bandanas will rush past their OGs to get home to get to their video game. Or they had a Game Boy with them or something. They care about games because they're addicted to the games. Yeah. And what is that doing? There was a article released that said the Surgeon General released a warning about screen time and stuff and said that it is comparable to a cocaine addiction.
I believe it.
Basically, here's the monster. Comparable to a cocaine addiction, meaning that's how potent the technology of these games and these tablets and these phones are. So you tell your kid, hey, I don't want you in gangs. I don't want you out selling drugs. I don't want you running with the wrong crowd. They're looking at you like, I'm not going outside anyway. I'm going in my room and get on my Xbox, my PlayStation 5. You know, one of my sons cried Christmas time because his mama bought him a PlayStation 5. Excited, he cried.
That's how excited he was.
And I said to myself, wait a minute. I said, it's a bad move. Next thing I know, his college grades started failing. He dropped out of that college and went to another college. Now, today, he in orientation for a job, which I think is going to be about his 6th or 7th job, because now he don't want to work a job and stay on the job. You know why? Trying to get to the game.
You know, I didn't allow that. You know, raising my boys, I didn't allow it. I didn't have them video games in the house. Now, my oldest boy, I didn't. My next boy, I didn't have it. My baby boy, I went and bought one. You know what I'm saying? But I bought it because everybody else got them. My son gonna have one. Well, my oldest two boys, I kept them on the football field, kept them on the wrestling mat, I kept them on the baseball diamond, kept them on the basketball court. They didn't have time for big. When they came home, they passed out.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where we losing a lot. That's just father being a father. That's what
Let me interject this
Yeah.
while we on it. The biggest issue with the video games back when we had Sega Genesis and Atari,
Yeah,
we couldn't connect to the internet.
Yeah.
See, they connect to the internet.
Yeah, they playing people in China.
We don't know if it's predators, pedophiles. We don't know what's going on the other end. Gangsters, gangmen. Hey, little homie, you cool with that ball, man? What's your name, man? I'm such and such. Hey, little homie, you need to come get put on the set, man. We both live in Tulsa. Shoot, meet me at the mall. Next thing you know, your son keeps showing his interest and wanting to go to the mall. Or your daughter keep disappearing and she 13, 14 years old, and you don't even realize there go the monster. Because, see, we couldn't connect to the internet and interact with the world. They can.
Yeah.
You see the addiction? Because when you live in a society, in a community where you already been treated like you the lowest of the low and poverty is rampant everywhere, guess what? Most of the girls are looking for love in all the wrong places. Well, all they got to do now is get on the internet, TikTok, social media, or the video game, and what we think is innocent going on, absolutely not.
Yeah.
They winding up in Vegas or out in the desert somewhere with their hands sticking up out the sand.
Yeah. And that's real. Man, it's been a pleasure talking to you. You got anything to say
Likewise.
about the organizations that you want people to know about? Where you pastoring, where you ministering at?
Right now, we revamping.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, because of technology and stuff, we have to go back into rewriting the script a little bit to get things to be more understandable, more educational material. Because technology, man, it's an uphill battle for Black people. It's just like crack when it hit. It's like the kid, we didn't understand it, but we're going to get ahead of the curve this time, and put out material where people can comprehend it and be like, oh man, I understand. This is me. So even when I preach sermons from time to time and the youth are there and I preach about video games, they'll even admit, I even had them on yesterday after Easter service, we broke bread with them and they was telling me and said, every time you preach about the video games, it hit us in the heart because that's what's happening in our household, but it's kind of like you can't be loose with that. You can't just say, we're going to sit down and dialogue about it. No, you have to create a material. You have to create a structured material that has a standard to it and an expectation to it so that when people start to get involved, they have a guidepost, they have a front end vision, and they have an end goal vision as to exactly how this is going to affect and persuade and change the community as a whole about how we move forward as a people in Tulsa. You know what I'm saying? So right now, like I said, we kind of, things are not, we haven't unveiled a lot. I've been working hard to just develop the material for us to introduce it to the people and then let the people, through their actions, show the results.
So people, y'all heard it here. We come from the streets to the prison to pastoring.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And the journey is not an easy one.
No,
But
it's
you got to stay consistent with it. And we got Pastor, Minister, Reverend, Dabney. Like I said, I appreciate you, man, and you're a real one.
No problem.
And I'm gonna try to get this information out to people. So where do you pastor at?
I'm at the Church of the Living God.
Here in Tulsa?
Yeah, I'm in Tulsa and I'm in Okmulgee.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do they sermons? What? Tell us about the sermons. What times? What days? I know they on Sundays.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. Church started at 11 o'clock. Sunday school. We still have Sunday school. So
You're not like these other churches where they got a 1 o'clock service.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You just do that one?
The Lord gonna convert you right there. If you to be converted that day, you're gonna be converted right there. We don't, oftentimes you have mega churches, you have all that. It's because the masses of people, it be so many they can't seat but so many, so they have to have more than one service, But in that service that we have. No, if you're to be converted, the Lord's going to touch you. He's going to convert you right then.
You got a website or something that you want to know?
I'm Church of the Living God, been around before I was born. So,
Church of the Living God.
Church on North Hartford, 3960 North Hartford. We just took on some tornado damage. We're getting that straightened out. We are safe to have church. We're having church. But, and then, my goal as a pastor is outreach.
Yeah.
My ministry is more about outreach, getting out in the community, letting people know about resources available, feeding people, visiting people that's sick. I just was visiting with a brother that's in a rehab right now he survived cancer. This is not a drug rehab. It's the best way for him to get the antibiotics he needs is through a IV, instead of pills. So that's what he's in a rehab for 30 days. And I asked him yesterday when I went to visit him, I said, you ready to go home? He said, yeah, I'm ready to go. But he knows it's a process, But, that's what I do. I go to visit people in the hospital, St. Francis, wherever. If I find out somebody's in the hospital, I'm going to go visit them, check on them. If they need clothes, I'm going to do everything I can to get that resource to them. If they need food, we got this food bank here. One of my evangelists, we have a food down in Okmulgee where they give them truckloads of food and, they give it out to people that need food. Just the necessities of life, making sure that we outreach to people and let people know. So the more I grow and go forward in my pastoring, the more people going to hear about it and the resources are going to be available, regardless of the resistance from anybody else. Because in my mind, if you don't want to help the people, that's fine with me because they're going to see right through you anyway.
Right.
To the person that really wants to help them. So.
All right, well, like I said, I appreciate you coming out. We got to get you back in here. Talk. We're gonna talk relationships. I know you married and you got a lot to say about that. So, well, if anything, I got a lot to say about it. So, hey man, I sure appreciate you, brother.
No problem.